Hello. Hello. Figured I would do something new, maybe like a little less like shit posty. Um, I'm sure it'll still contain something of that kind, but I figured I'd just go through my PlayStation 1 and 2 specific games, specifically fighting games, and just kind of give you quick ideas about them. Maybe you've seen some of these, maybe you have some, maybe you don't. Maybe you can recommend me stuff that'd be similar, but some are American, some are Japanese, but let's get started. So first off, I have a copy of Capcom Fighting Jam for the Japanese PS2. In America, this was called Capcom Fighting Evolution. Basically, it sounds a lot cooler than it really is, but imagine if Capcom made a versus series amongst themselves. So forget Marvel, forget, other kind of crossovers. But, so you have like, Red Earth, Darkstalkers, and then this girl named Ingrid from her own canceled fighting games. The problem is with this game, you have all this variety from different fighting games, but then about 60% of the cast is just different versions of Street Fighter games. The cool part is that they have their own mechanics they bring over from the game, so Darkstalkers have their own meter, Street Fighter Third Strike characters can parry, Ingrid just has a whole suite of moves from her own thing. The problem with this game is it's really bad on a bunch of reused assets. Backgrounds look like shit. A lot of the character models look like out of place, and it just really feels slapped together. It is cool to see Dimitri again, but Darkstalkers gets like 4 characters, and there's like 8+ Street Fighter characters, so it's the usual shtick of Capcom versus series. The only thing they care to represent for the most part is Street Fighter, and just the reused assets are kind of eh. It's a very mediocre fighting game, all things considered, but if you've never heard of it before, check it out. Next up, I have on PS1, I have the King of Fighters 99 loose disc. I'm not the biggest King of Fighters fan. I mean, I like it aesthetically, I like the characters, and kind of like the weight and flow of the game. I've just never been able to really, sit down and kind of really crack a King of Fighters game open and learn it. Though I do like playing King a little bit. I like Double Venom Strike, Trap Rose. Those are kind of cool moves and stuff like that. 99 doesn't seem like anything special. I hear 98's like the pinnacle, but it was a couple bucks, so I picked it up. It's pretty clean looking for an old, style game. Speaking of not clean looking, King of Fighters Maximum Impact is a game I haven't played a lot of, but it has like this 2D, 3D style, and I'm not going to lie to you, just that picture alone should say enough. The game looks really ugly, and I'm not a big graphic guy, but I saw Clark do his like Argentine maximum backbreaker or something, and it was just so underwhelming. I don't know. Not for me. Next up, I have a real treat. This is okay, so this requires some explaining, but this is, for the Japanese PlayStation 2 only, the Simple Series 2000, volume number 55, The Cat Fight. So, this requires a bit of a preface. The Simple Series is a series that started back in the PS1 era, and I think around then it was the Simple Series 1000, Simple Series 1500, and then on PS2 they had Simple Series 2000. What that meant is you could buy this for 2,000 yen when it came out, or 20 bucks. So back in, say, 2004 when this came out, say it came out in 2005, hypothetically, you could pay 60 bucks for Resident Evil 4, you could pay $20 for the motherfucking cat fight. Now, the Simple Series development team, they'll develop anything from mahjong to survival horror to even fighting games. The cat fight is basically what you pick. You pick from one of many generic stereotypical women, mostly Asian themed. There's like this one Irish lady, and you play in this goofy one-on-one kind of arena 3D fighter. The thing is, all of the women basically have the same exact moves. You do different moves like, directional inputs, including attacks with like square and circle and stuff. And there's various inputs ranging from steel chairs to katanas and a nail bat. But it's just kind of a bad game. It's really goofy though. It's very stupid but enjoyable. It goes for about around anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks though, complete. So there is that. The M16, you can actually get a motherfucking machine gun. Let me crack this open, see if I can find it. And if you can, when you get that, man, when you get the machine gun, I don't know if you can see that, but, well, there's a machine gun. There you go. There you go. Hey, there it is. So, yeah, you can get a machine gun, and the whole dynamic changes. You can't block the machine gun like you can other weapons, but if you can get a hit on someone, before the whole magazine will drain, like, half their fucking life bar. It's stupid. Anyway. This game's kind of a treat. I found this for about $4. Kengo Master of Bushido is what I would simply describe as a samurai simulator, though very primitive. It was made in the year 2000, and it's a one-on-one 3D samurai fighter. The game has pretty basic functions. It has an attack. You hold down X to guard, circles your attack. Square is like a parry move. Triangle is like your supercharge for your special. And then for the top buttons, L1, R1, R2, L2, change from different stances, which will give you different 3-hit combos and stuff like that, depending on which stance you have. The game is interesting, and there is skill involved, but I've noticed a lot of the way to break it is you can cancel almost any animation with a block. So you can stun lock the shit out of people, where if you reverse them and spin them around, you can just strike, strike, block, and you can kind of stun lock them to death in their back. Some would find this to be cheap, but I honestly think that it adds like a weird dynamic to the game, and it's honestly really fun. Refined in its own way. I have what I think is one of the most overhyped wrestling-style games of all time, but, I mean, it has hype for a reason. I mean, you get to play as literal fucking actual rappers. This is the Japanese version because I don't have the money for the American version. The funny part about this, though, is the Japanese version was actually... So, they actually had to get a Japanese sumo PS2 like fighting game development team. They developed like sumo games to develop this game in Japan because it's the only people that would actually do it. So if you want a Japanese copy of this, all of the menus are in English, and X as actually to select, which in the Japanese PlayStation 2, actually it's in there, but circle is typically select. But they optimized this for Americans, so even if you get a Japanese version, it's really easy to navigate and play and pick up and navigate the menus. They knew what they were doing. But, you know, that's like a 4-player free-for-all. You pick your favorite rapper, you beat the shit out of other rappers. I just don't like the weight of the game or the way the system really feels. It's kind of clunky to me, and not in the way that I enjoy playing it, learning it. Speaking of clunk, I have Wu-Tang Shaolin style loose disc on the PS1. Wu-Tang Clan made a fighting game. 4-player arena-based fighter. It's clunky, and a lot of people say it's an awful fighting game, but if you sit down and play it, it's only bad. It's only bad if you judge it on the face level, because there's really easy juggles, and there's different kinds of free-flow combos you can do, and the game is goofy enough with the Wu-Tang emphasis that, honestly, it warrants checking it out. There's also this whack-ass controller that cost over $100 that's shaped like the Wu-Tang symbol, but I don't have the money to afford that bad controller. This is also kind of a pricey disc in of itself. Let's see here. I have Battle Arena To Shinden. I bought this because it was a loose disc. It's kind of like a 3D fighter, and I don't know if I'm being a dick by saying it like this, but it plays like Bad Soul Calibur, and I mean that in like the nicest way possible. It's like Bad Soul Edge, but it's alright. It kind of looks ugly by today's standards, but if you need like that nice, clunky, but decently refined PS1 era fighting game because you haven't got enough from Tekken or Soul Blade, try Battle Arena To Shinden. Speaking of which, I have To Shinden 2 Plus on the Japanese thing, but I need to get this disc buffed, and I haven't actually got to try it out yet to see if it's any good or not because it doesn't work on my PlayStation. Those damn international sellers said it did. So that'll have to go over into the resurface pile. I guess I'll go ahead and end part 1 with Biofreaks for PlayStation 1. So,